Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host for the Leaders with a Heart podcast. They have a very special guest, my good friend, Lynn. She's an absolutely amazing woman. She's doing a lot of great things, not only as a business woman, but also especially she has an amazing heart of gold, and that's what we're going to be talking about here today. Lynn, welcome to the show. Thank you for having you. Yes, thank you.
Oh
Welcome.
my gosh, thank you for having me. It's so great that we finally get together.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. We're both on the same coaching group with Akbar Sheikh, Make More, Give More. And when I heard your stories on one of the live videos we had with Akbar, I said, oh man, I need to get her on the podcast. She's absolutely amazing. It's been a work in progress because of the, we had the scheduling. We had to make that work, but finally we're here. So I couldn't be more excited.
I'm excited too.
All right, cool. First of all, tell us about you. Who's Lynn? What's your story? Tell us about yourself so that people, the audience can get to know you.
All right. Well, I'm a mom. I'm a wife first, and I'm a mom to two amazing daughters. And our journey on that has kind of brought me to the place I am now, because there were many, many, many years ago that I was one of those moms on the last day of school that was basically thinking, when does the school bus come again? It's May and I'm waiting. I can't wait till August. And, I loved my kids, but I didn't know how to deal with them, their energy and just all of that kind of stuff. But I grew up in a generation where most of the parents were kind of hands off. I mean, we came home when the street lights came on. Nobody knew where we were. We didn't have cell phones. We had bikes and we just went. And you can't really do that anymore. And that ties into some of my mission and some of the things I do now, which we'll come back to. But I remember then kind of learning what the kids were going through, some of the changes and some of the things that were happening in the schools and some of the things that were happening in the world at large. And I thought, I don't want my kids to be like that. So what do I do? So if you would have told me even 2 months before my husband and I made this decision, I would have told you, you're crazy, you got the wrong family. But we started homeschooling our kids. So our youngest she went to preschool. I think she went to kindergarten, but has never been into public school since. And then our other one, right after 4th grade, we took her out. What we did with our kids then was we started bringing them along with us to all these personal development and business meetings and watching them really grab onto things that I didn't even think of in my 30s. I always was a generous person, but it was very limited in one, my finances, and two, when your finances are limited, you get into a state of greed, even though you think, well, only rich people are greedy. Greed is when you're thinking about money all the time. It becomes somewhat of an idol, and you're always wondering how you're going to get it. And anytime you get any, you really got to hold tight. So anytime you give any, whether it's the homeless person on the corner or whatever, you feel it, you think about it, it becomes something that it shouldn't be. Money's only a tool. So as I started watching my kids, and they were really the ones that originally really started me on this journey, because at one of the events that we were at, they were building houses we started with Haiti, and then they moved over to Nicaragua. And so by the time my kids started really thinking about things, they were 7 and 10 years old, and they decided they were going to start a baking business, and they were going to try to raise some money. At 7 and 10 years old, they were baking on their own. We would go to events, and of course they'd sell it there. And we're with entrepreneurs who tend to be a little more generous than, like give one cupcake and they'll give them $50 if they know their cause. So we talk about that, but I also say, you guys were 10 and 7 and you had the wherewithal to go up and talk to adults and go up and say your cause and go. They would be on the driveway selling things. My oldest started becoming a funnel hacker, started learning how to do funnels. And that was actually what she did to finish the second house. So they ended up with the two of them raising enough money to build 2 houses in Nicaragua. Now, of course, during this time, I'm making money and I'm giving a little bit, but at what level was I giving, right? Not at that level. And so they really kind of made me step up my game. But I also started thinking about all the other moms out there. So the last 7 years through my journey of entrepreneurship has constantly been, helping full-time moms create full-time income and then some. So it's that mom that really, really wants to be there, wants to not miss a, not miss a meet. And that's not to say that we don't miss some things, because there's been times where I've been at conferences and I've missed something, but it's on my choice, on our family's dinner table conversation, and what is best for the family. And it is much more rare. I don't miss things because I have to go work for someone else. So this entrepreneur journey has been amazing for our family. And in building that family structure, I've seen where my kids are mentally, emotionally, and where some of their peers are. Like a lot of these kids, they're doing school at home right now in a lot of places, and we are here. They're home on the computer. And I know, I'm not trying to put somebody down, everybody's got their thing, but I know a young man who's a senior in high school. He doesn't have a job, and he stays up till 6 a.m. screaming and yelling on video games. And I'm just like, how is that setting the next generation up for success? How is that, and no judgment. I can only deal with myself.
Sure.
I can only talk to the other parents like me. And I focus with moms because we've got our little posse, who want something different for the next generation. So we do believe, as ambitious moms, we can create legacy income, but yet still be there for our kids to raise them with our own morals and our own values, and still, as we're called to be generous on all occasions, be able to be generous on all occasions. So it's kind of a whole package on what we've been doing here for, say, the last 7 years.
That's amazing. Wow, what an amazing way to raise a family. I took some notes, and so many things I want to comment on. It's amazing. You mentioned that one of your kids, or was it both of them, started funnel hacking and raising money for that. Which one was it? Was it the younger or the oldest, or they did it together?
So where we got, by the time they were like 14 and 11, my 14-year-old built that funnel that ended up funding the rest of the house. And where we are now is one of them's very much into, she makes logos, and she does, she's more like graphic stuff. She's learning, she's 13. And then my 17-year-old does some funnel hacking stuff. We actually went to FHL back in 2019, and she met some people there. She works with one woman that's incredible. She's a recording artist in Nashville, and who's also a funnel hacker. So she does some work for her. And so my kids are definitely an entrepreneurial spirit also.
That's amazing. That's amazing. One of the best gifts that parents, I don't have a kid, but that's one of the first thing I would do. One of the best gifts that any parent can give the kids is the gift of entrepreneurship. And it's amazing that you guys have done that. Did you actively push push them to follow the entrepreneurship, or they did on their own? How did they start it?
Okay, I actively drug them with me to 3-day events. And
Nice.
So at first, they would be really excited because they'd be in fun locations. So they'd love, like every 6 weeks almost, we were going somewhere. When my 7-year-old was going, these would be long days. They'd start at 8 o'clock in the morning. We'd have a break for dinner time, and we'd come back till like 11 o'clock at night sometimes. So there were many times where my 7-year-old might take a little nap on my lap. She wasn't writing back then and taking notes, but she was drawing pictures. And I always thought, oh, she's drawing pictures of princesses. And she wasn't, as it came up much later. I remember walking by her bedroom, and she was talking to the little girl that lived next door. And, her little legs are swinging because they're not very long. She's like 7, 8 years old. She's on her little bed, and she has kind of a higher bed. And she's telling this little girl all of these things. She's bringing up words like honor and diligence. And I'm just so I'm like the mom sitting there like, what are they talking about? And then we got to talking about it because I was really impressed with that. And I was telling somebody else that story, and she was walking by. She said, Mom, I wasn't drawing pictures of princesses. That was our mentor. So she had long blonde hair. So she was drawing the pictures, and that was her way of connecting the information in her head, I guess. I really don't know. Wow. So from there, they found their own path. There's been times where I've had to be like a little bit more of an accountability partner. But let me tell you, I've needed it from them, because we're together all the time. And, being an entrepreneur without deadlines from, you know, other clients, but things that you want to do, it's really easy to let a week go by, 2 weeks go by, or whatever. So we kind of have to get back to the table, get back to the calendar, get back to the agenda conversations every now and then. And, you know, we're not a perfect family. I mean, we fight, we argue, we have all of these different ideas and all of that. But I'll tell you, and then there's times where they feel sometimes in their place of life that they don't really have a lot of friends. You know, they have friends all over the world, different places and countries or whatever, and events, but not, and they have some local, but most of the ones that are local don't think like them. So they don't have these tight connections. So I'm always like, you know what, that's always the choices you make in life. When I was in high school and junior high and all, I was fought with my girlfriends. You know, we'd have like, these two were mad at this one, and then this one would be mad at this. So there's no perfect life. So, so now I guess I pushed them to come with us at the beginning, but I would never force them into anything that a box that didn't fit them, even if it was, you know, my box.
Yeah, for sure. The fact that your kids started quite early in entrepreneurship, they're having a lot of success, does that also indirectly put some kind of pressure on you, because you have to perform, you have to be at your best because you're a role model for them? Did you feel any kind of pressure in that regard, that, hey, my kids are watching me carefully every day, I better perform, otherwise, you know, did you feel that way?
It's such a good question. There's even a meme of like a mom that's doing push-ups and she's like, don't quit, look who's watching, and little kids are peeking around the corner.
Yeah.
And I would love to say that would be me pushing a few more push-ups or doing a few more funnels or reaching out to a few more clients. And I'm not, as much as I would like, you know, we all like, we do the best we can. So, and there's times I'm not perfect. So, but yes, do I want to be better for them? Yes. But also our family mission has become so much bigger than that. So they've then gone on to build funnels where they have done it for international non-for-profits that's helped them go on and build orphanages and stuff like that, the way to get messages out. And we work with a woman, and one of the things that's near and dear in my heart is just rescuing people. This whole thing of human trafficking is just mind-blowing to me, mind-blowing. That is the biggest commodity in the world right now, is other human beings, whether they're 6 months old or 36 years old, and then all aspects of that. So we love the organization Underground Railroad, Operation Underground Railroad. And then we have a very dear friend that lives in Florida, and she actually goes on the streets and pulls women out. She goes into the strip clubs. She goes into the brothels. She meets these women, and now she's got a ministry of a bunch of women that were pulled out of that situation with her, that now hit the streets and go out and, you know, wash the feet of the girls on the streets. You know, they're not ready to leave sometimes, oftentimes, right? And so we work closely with her. We're working on a new funnel for her. I put her in my business, so my business will take care of her. And then my business is also about education. So I had this vision of seeing some of these women that were used to making a lot of money, and some of them are very, very, very brilliant, but they were in a situation and they made choices and they ended up where they are. And being able to teach them some of these skills and take that same desire to make money. You know, you need money. There's a lot of people that say, oh, you don't need money. And I don't buy that. And you know, when are you going to have enough money? When every single person is fed, every single person is clothed, every single person has fresh water, and every single person has time to live their passion. And you know when that's going to be, Payman? Not on this earth. So when do I have enough money? Never on this earth.
I agree.
You know?
I agree.
And,
we have to.
and so I had visions about these women, like having families reunited and forgiveness and learning. And you know, like if you could just reach one, we can just reach one. And so my girlfriend ended up buying 20 acres down in Florida. They're wanting to put you know what? I don't remember how many acres. maybe it's only like 7 or 8 acres, but they want to put 7 houses on, or 20 houses on it. That's the 20 is the houses on it. Then one for her also, that's also got a community center and all that, because right now she's bringing people into her home and they can only have so many at a time. But the organization is really growing. So that's one of our big things right there, is my heart is for the woman, the mom, anybody that's just hurting so bad, and whether it's from their own decisions they made, or they were put, some of these people were put in situations and then groomed a
Lied
certain
to.
way.
Oh
And
yeah.
and some of them just made the choices, and that's fine too. I'm not here to judge on either way, but I am here to help pull out the ones that we can reach.
That's amazing. It's so sad that still in 2020, we still have this plight of human trafficking. Absolutely heartbreaking. You're the second person that mentions this. I had a podcast just a few days ago with a gentleman from our group, John Henkel from Texas, is also very highly involved in and contributing to eradicating human trafficking. So that's absolutely beautiful. But so when you help these women, do you, where are they mostly from? Which part of the world are these women usually from?
Well, so when we're working with Amber down in Florida,
Mm,
she's in the streets of Bradenton, Florida.
mm,
So they work with the church. They just had they have 2 huge outreaches every year.
mm.
One of them is Halloween, and one of them is Valentine's Day. And the reason that Halloween is so big is because a lot of these brothels will open the door on Halloween. Like, you try to go knock on the door during the rest of the time and they're not allowed to open it. But on Halloween, these women are so excited to hand out candy and all of that. So
So sad.
there's a huge organization there with their church now, and they put together all of this stuff to actually give to them, because nobody gives things to them. And then Valentine's Day is the other big one. They not only go to the brothels, but that's a big day to actually go into the clubs and give the women flowers and love and all that, because they're always giving, and just open up a conversation. And that's how it started. So now her group, it started with her and like 1 or 2 friends, and now there's lots of them, and they come and they meet, and it's grown, and it's amazing. Even through this time of COVID, over Halloween, they were able to go in, and the ones that want to wear masks or whatever, they wear the mask and they sit together and they made all these baskets. And then she'll get it. One of the things that is heartbreaking is that she had a woman that came to her house the other night that had nothing. She didn't even have clothes. So
Wow.
so the cost of getting somebody like that could be $600 for a week for Amber, just to get her in a safe place. Sometimes she'll have to purchase these women from their pimps, because they just want the money. Like, they don't care. So they're like, well, she needs a little help, what. So there's all of these things that come into play with that organization.
So that was my next question. How do you guys save and rescue these women? So you mentioned that in one way is to actually, as sad as it sounds, just to buy them back from the pimps. What other methods do you guys use? Do you get the police involved or anything to help you?
No,
Or
no, no, no. It's not about the police, because the woman has to want to come,
Mhm.
so there are the stories where they come and then they fall back. I mean, everybody probably knows their uncles, brothers, cousins, somebody who might have been a drug addict, right? Somebody knows somebody that has either been an
Mhm.
alcoholic. So sometimes the intention is there, but it's a huge, there's a lot going on. So when we get one, or she gets one, basically my part of this, I'm not on the street with them. I know that I remember you asked another participant on your podcast, do you want to go to Africa? Do you want to, this is Dr. P, do you want to do this? And I was thinking like that for me, and I've thought about that before. At this point in my life, I don't want to be the one going and rescuing them. But what I do want to do is bring light to it. I want other moms like myself, who might otherwise let their kids do whatever they want. My young one sometimes gets a little upset with me because she's an athlete, so she wants to go running. And then you have to have a running buddy. You have to have some, and
Sure.
she, well, then go with me or whatever. So my whole thing is just to bring light to the problem. And I know you said earlier, it's sad that in 2021, we still have this problem, but I will say that in 2020 and 2021, the problem is worse. It's getting worse year after year. They're getting more brazen. They're getting more, they sell them for organs. They sell them for
Wow,
all kinds of exploitations that,
that's
that some of the ones
crazy.
that we've just talked about, so when you're talking about human trafficking, my whole thing is about just the whole human part of that nasty world, so these women, we're saying, well, they're not really trafficked, but in a sense they were groomed. And so they were put in situations mentally. It's a mental game. And that happens with these kids. They get on TikTok and they meet a stranger and they're 13. What these kids are doing on social media, with being mom's working, and God bless mom. She's, we live in a 2-parent working society, really, just
Wow.
to try to pay the bills, right? And so I'm not blaming any mom that and I'm not blaming any of the women, and I'm not blaming any of the victims. It's just, my thing is to help support the organizations like Ruby Acres, which is my girlfriend Amber down in Florida, or Operation Underground Railroad. Check out some of those stories. You want to cry. That's crazy. Even the story of Gardy, and then the story of how Tim ended up with his 2 children from Haiti. Because here's something really crazy. When Haiti all happened, we had all the newscasts there and all of the celebrities. We had a lot of celebrities there. And as soon as the cameras left, they did too. No money hit the streets. We raised millions, maybe billions, I don't know, a whole lot of money, because there was a big foundation that we all know of that was also down there seeing the spotlight, right? All of that money was siphoned off. Well, one of
Wow.
our organizations, this was our old mentor way back then, we came in and we hit the streets. And there was a couple celebrities that were with us at first, but again, they came in, they were like all ready to work. And then within about 3 months, they were gone too. So it was really our organization, and built villages for these people because there was no money. They didn't have rice. They didn't have beans. But yet when we give money to organizations, we have to know where it goes. And I'm not going to trash any organizations. I'm going to tell anybody that's listening to this right now, go look on reputable places to find out how much money these CEOs make, how many airplanes they have, how much really hits the ground. Because if your heart is to give, one of the things I know, there's something called karma in this like secular or maybe Eastern religion world, but that was also in my world is more biblical. That's something called sowing a seed. When you sow a seed, you're going to get what that seed was. So if you plant
Sure.
when you plant a seed of carrot, you're going to get a carrot, and you're going to get whatever that ground will give you, right? And so if you're planting your seed, your hard-earned money into organizations that are evil, even if it's unbeknownst to you, you're going to reap that back, whatever we sow our money into. I got rid of Netflix. That kind of stunk because we don't have a TV, but we do watch Netflix every now and then. And I was bummed about that because what do you do if you want to have family movie night? Well, we've had to change it up because I'm not going to sow my money, even my $13 a month, into some of the things that people can do their own research on that too. But it's really, really important. Money is the thing that we need to eat, to help, to give. We need it. So where you put it, how you grow it, whether you work, whether you expect the government just to give it to you, all of these things play a part to the success of our own lives.
For sure. I mean, this is such a heavy topic. I
I'm
had no
sorry.
idea.
It was supposed to be a fun conversation.
I know, but it's you remind me. I mean, flashback because I had no idea that this problem, human trafficking, was an issue in the U.S., one of the most developed countries in the world. I lived in 10 countries over 4 continents. The past 5 years, I was living in Asia, especially in Hong Kong. And I got very close with, I had a lot of Filipino friends. And that's a big problem with them. They're lured to go work, especially in Saudi Arabia and all those Gulf countries, they're told, hey, you're going to go and have a normal job. But as soon as they land there, they get the passport confiscated, no money, and they just treated like absolute slaves, if not even sex slaves or whatever. Whatever the boss, basically the owner, not even the boss, the owner wants, they can get them to do whatever they want. So I heard about that from them. It was heartbreaking, but I had absolutely no idea that this was still an issue in the US in 2020. That's absolutely blown away. Wow.
It is modern slavery. That's
Mm,
what it is, and it's a bigger issue than all of the years of slavery,
mhm.
the evils of all of that. But the conversation that everybody has about that, um, it's it's so much worse. So what we do, we pray, we earn money, we become aware, and we do what we can when we can. And not all of us are called to be boots on the ground, but we're all called for greatness. We're all called to be generous. We're all called to make more and give more, right? We're all called
Absolutely.
for something. And what I'll say to anybody that's depressed, I mean, this has been a really tough 7 months. So anybody that's depressed, get out of yourself, get out of your own way and help somebody else. Do something else.
And just
It's
to add to what you're saying, the best way to beat depression is to be grateful, to show gratitude, because once you start becoming grateful, then your spirit lifts up. And I was just yesterday, I was just watching, I mean, just going through my feed on YouTube, and I get a video that was suggested to me of an absolutely amazing lady in the US. I'm sure you probably heard of her. Her YouTube channel is Amy B. She was born without limbs, no hands, no feet, no nothing. It's absolutely, she has a channel, absolutely amazing. How she's able to do the things that we take for granted, like going up and down the stairs, opening the door, eating, brushing your teeth, whatever. She was doing it. I mean, there's no way. I mean, once I watched that, I said, me, I have zero reason to complain, zero reason, and none of us have any reason to complain. Once I saw what she asked to face, I said it to all my friends. I said, guys, from now on, shut up. Be grateful that you have two hands, 2 feet, and that you're able to do things, walking, washing your hands, eating, that we take for granted that someone else was not even able to do since day one.
Mhm.
And once you do that, once you start being grateful and showing gratitude, it just attracts more positive energy to you, positive vibes. It raises your vibration, all that, and it transforms your day, it transforms everything. That's a little steps like that. Yeah, wow.
Absolutely. And it's weird because it's like for her, it was kind of a do or die situation. And oftentimes, what's crazy when people have these success stories in our world, entrepreneurship world, they have these amazing stories because they were homeless or what, like they had to do something. And oftentimes we live in this world of comfort, and then our comfort, we're not accomplishing anything. So we start to get depressed. And I personally believe that I have a kind of a cynical vision of or view of human beings sometimes, which is kind of sad. But I think that it's hard to get grateful when you're in a state of depression, right? You have to like meditate on it, or what. It's like this work. But what I will say, one way to get out of depression is actually go help someone, because we are a little selfish, right? I think that that's also survival, like fight or flight. And then
Mhm.
selfishness can be a little bit just about trying to survive, in caveman days or whatever, right? So I think it's an innate, not a bad thing. It's where we take it from there, where selfishness becomes a really bad thing. But we're selfish. So it feels good to give to somebody else. It
Oh,
feels good to just
absolutely.
collect some backpacks or blankets and go to the bridges in downtown Chicago and give, you know, socks, or you could go to Walmart and buy sock, or ask people. It's funny too, because you can ask people, hey, I'm doing a drive. We've done that before. Coats are sometimes hard to come by, but you can get socks. We see blessing bags, and we have we get all old backpacks. We try to get new ones, but sometimes they were not in bad shape, but they were used, and we would try to fill them. We'd have one for males and one for females. And you could have a really bad day and just be depressed and angry, or even a bad year. But you start going downtown Chicago and you start or wherever your town is, and you start handing out these bags, and you see these people that are living the way these people are living. Okay, so yes, we look at the people and we're like, look at them, they're going, or this girl that can brush her teeth with no arms or legs. But it's the inspiring part, I feel, sometimes has to come later. What comes first is how good you feel from a selfish standpoint. When you give, you feel good, right? Then we want to build on that. And then it becomes, okay, now I can be inspired by other people. But if sometimes we just have to start from that place of selfishness. I mean, I've taken people on this road with me, so I kind of know. I've been on this road myself, you know, going through times in my life where you just get bummed out, you know, like life's too hard. In my nice home where I've got heat and electricity and water and all the food I could eat out, you know, sometimes way
complaining.
Too much food. Yeah, and I'm complaining. It's like, oh my goodness. So, but hey, it's the human condition. What are we going to do?
You know,
but I also think the human condition is to give. I do think it's amazing to.
It's beautiful you mentioned that, because in my experience, and I'm sure it's the same for you and everyone, there's no more beautiful or fulfilling, you know, a feeling that when you help someone, give something to someone that, and when you look in their eyes, the gratitude, infinite gratitude almost gives you goosebumps. Even me talking about it, I get goosebumps. It's like a kind of, I don't think anything can match. It's almost like an orgasm for the soul. It really touches you at the most profound of your whole being, you know, that nothing else. You can win the super lottery jackpot. You will feel good, but after a couple of days, it'll be gone. Or you can buy the latest house, the latest car, latest whatever material thing. It's gonna fade away. But you do that, nobody can take that away from you. The moment that you feel, the feelings you feel, even just you remembering that a week, a month, a year later, is going to completely lift your mood. And it's like a drug, because once you do it, you want to do it more. You can't get enough of it. And that's when magic happens.
It is. It gets you up in the morning when you might not have wanted to. Yeah.
Wow.
For sure.
So amazing. I mean, I knew that you were a special lady, a very beautiful heart, but now I'm talking to you, we can talk for hours, because there's so many things that we can talk, I can share with you. But just for the sake of keeping this short, I mean, we can do an entire season, just me and you talking about all the amazing impacts you're doing and all that. But so once you save these women, these ladies, what kind of skills? So you put them in special houses, safe houses. Do you teach them any skills so they can get back?
And that's where that part of what her ministry or whatever has kind of stopped. And so some of them then come along with her, and then they start giving back, right? Get out of that place of depression and start helping other women, and start making the baskets or getting the flowers on Valentine's, or figuring out other ways to help or whatever, right? And but then what? They need to be trained and things like that. And so where this is kind of married with my vision is that all of these years I've helped, you know, other Karens, right? Other suburban moms make lots of money. And now I'm like, why couldn't we come in and teach some of these women about money and finances and things like that? So a lot of, you know, Karen's problem is debt, right? So there's a lot of people out there that teach you how to get out of debt and, you know, eat beans or do this or don't buy a new car. But I believe that money is just a tool, and that we can, if we're willing to work, you know, and get the work done and be smart and bring something valuable to the table, that there's plenty of money. You don't have to eat beans, right? And so now now I teach moms about money. We have a thing that we do, we call the Mom's Wealth Club, and we talk about how to have your money work for you, you know, how to increase your income that comes in. And so I kind of mentioned this earlier, one of the big epiphanies or visions that I had about some of these women are used to making a lot of money. And just to be real, even if they're not going to do drugs anymore and they want to do something else, money also has that draw, which money is such a weird, messed up thing. I don't even know what to say about it. But it's hard for them to go get a job at Chick-fil-A. right?
Yeah, sure.
In Florida for $12 an hour or $10 an hour right now. I think they voted in $15 an hour that doesn't get it until 2026. So I think, they're like at $10, $11 an hour. That's really hard. So we can deal with that barrier by me bringing them into my world and helping them figure out what they're doing down there. So when we're finished with some of this craziness that's been going on, I'm excited to reach out and actually coach some of those women also on how to, like I said, multiply their money, how to make it work for you, how, not just my Karens.
That's a
I have to
beautiful
bring
way
a
of
little
putting it,
light
my
to this
parents. Yeah.
conversation.
Yes, that's a beautiful segue because I was about to ask you about your business, and earlier you told me that you can summarize your business by you said fix your finances for your family so we can be generous on all occasion. Tell us more about your business. What exactly is your business? How exactly you're helping these women?
So one of the things that we do work in the world of finances. And so there's lots of financial teachings. We have educational platforms that teaches them how to trade money, how to increase your income. I've been a real estate broker for 21 years now almost. But how do you get to that stage to be able to buy your first house? And we were just listening the other day to some friends of ours that the daughter was talking, and she's now married, but she's young. She's in her 20s. And she was talking about when she was little, she saved all of her money. Like her parents, they didn't have a lot of money at that time of their life. Their parents are doing really well now. But so she's like, anytime I, got any kind of allowance, or I just saved it all. And then when she was, I think
Nice.
18 or 19, she bought her first house. And then she and her husband just sold that house and they made $100 and some thousand profit. But I'm like, how many people teach their kids about that? So how do you get to that stage where you can buy that first house? How do you get to where you can buy, apartment complexes? It's like Rich Dad, Poor Dad and all that stuff is awesome, but how do you get to that step? And I'm not a woman that believes in, I love beans. I'm married to a Mexican. There are so many beans and peppers and rice in this house. So it's not about the beans, but it's just a comment on it. And, when you're broke, oh, you eat a lot of beans or eggs, how many different ways can you make eggs? And I don't think that we were designed to live like that. I think that that's the other psychological thing of the whole thing. I don't think life is that hard. I think we make it hard. And then the ones that do have a hard time in life, those are the ones that we have to reach down and pick up and bring with us and help them. Because not everybody's going to do what we do. So there's always going to need to be us, those people that are built to make money so that we can take care of the ones that weren't.
Tell us a bit more about the structure of your program. Is it like, how does someone apply and join? And when they join, what are they getting into? Is it more like a coaching, a mastermind?
There are coachings. We have about 12 different trainers that we talk about everything from Bitcoin and all the different cryptocurrencies. And if you all don't know about crypto and Bitcoin, that you need to, because even governments are getting into crypto. MLB, the Major League Baseball up here in the United States, they're in crypto. Brazil, I think, just passed that. Yeah. So we need to understand
even the Chinese government,
Yes.
they're going big on that.
We need to understand where the financial world is going so that we can protect our family. So basically it's an educational platform, and we teach you how to look at life totally differently. We have, let's see, 3 to 4 live calls every single day. We have, and because we have it all over the world. So one of them's like 2 in the morning for me, but it's like 9 and 10 in the morning or whatever in London. And we have people from all over the world. But I work directly with a lot of moms. That's my thing is, my whole thing coming into helping them get started in this. We just called it the Mom's Wealth Club. I did put a little newsletter together. And so if somebody wants to reach out to me, I can give you a
Yes,
little
we'll get
page
that
where they
in
can
a
just
more.
fill out that. And
Yeah.
so that's the momswealthclub.com/podcast in honor
Yes.
came in your podcast.
Thank
And
you. It's an
so
honor.
you can get a newsletter on there that just starts a conversation about things that we didn't think about. I mean, there's things like central banks. What does that even mean? I mean, I was in real estate. I've been in real estate since 1999. And I used to think that it was a good thing when interest rates were low. I'm like, yeah, because you know what it was from a selfish standpoint, I was going to sell a lot of houses. It is not a good thing when interest rates are low at all. I
Sure.
didn't know, I'm telling you, all these years that I was active in real estate, I didn't know that the Federal Reserve was not part, and none of our Federal Reserves are part of the governments. You know,
Sure.
different countries have
Absolutely.
their different central banks.
Mm-hmm.
What? But it's here in the States, it was like, but it's the Federal
It's a
Reserve.
private bank. It's a private
It's like,
institution.
got
Yeah.
you. But that's how we walk through life. We walk through life completely oblivious to, I hate to be too cynical. I've admitted that I can be a little cynical. I'm one of the most positive people I know, but I also look at things. I think the system is stacked against us. You
Sure.
know, it's
Sure.
stacked against us plebes. So how do we fight back?
Absolutely.
And
And there's a lot of those valuable skills that unfortunately are not being taught at school. Like, for example, how to use money, and understanding interest rates, credit card, debt, and selling, the art of selling, negotiation. These are absolutely vital skills that are not being taught in school. And we would need, that's a completely different story for a completely different podcast, but we need to completely revamp the entire education system, not just in the US. I'm in Canada, same thing in Canada, same thing in Europe. It's worldwide. The entire education needs to be rethought and rebuilt from the scratch. And sure, it's important to know, algebra, history, maths, and all that. But we also need to understand and learn those vital skills, because there's so much, unless you're going to be, say, majoring in history or in political science, you're not going to use that when you go in your adult life. But knowing how to use money for you, not against you, how to negotiate, how to sell, how to speak, public speaking is another vital skill. These are not something we're being taught.
you're right. And it's funny because that's what I told my kids when they first started homeschooling, was like, as long as you can do a little bit of math in your head so that if you're at a table, you can know, like negotiation table, you're not being ripped off, that you can speak, write, and communicate. So one of my daughters, at one of the events that I put on, we've done some seminars ourselves. My daughter was, I think, 15, and she actually did a sales pitch, which was kind of
Wow.
cool. Stood up
That's
in front of our
amazing.
audience. People had paid $500 to come listen to us,
Wow.
put on this seminar. And then at first, I'll tell you, it's kind of funny because she got this young kid coming up there. Some of these adults had their arms crossed. They were like, what are we doing here? And then I remember one gentleman in particular who started like that. And then by 5 minutes into her talking, he's leaning up, he's taking notes, and he came up after me and apologized because he hadn't given her, he didn't know. He just didn't know. But you're right. And we should probably, this is a totally different conversation, but nobody's going to teach that. And that's one thing I like about the group that we're with. There is a family in ClickFunnels, and they have a Constitution class, and we've learned
Wow.
so much, especially with everything that's going on right now in the US. We've learned so much, and I've learned so much. My husband's an immigrant who had to take the Constitution class and all that for him to become a citizen here, and so he probably knew more than me, who went to school here and lived here my whole life, because it's just not. So it's not going to be up to the system to teach us. It's going to be up to us. And the cool thing about the internet age is we can go out there and we can get this information. We can learn about money. We can learn about the way governments run. We can rise above so that we can help those ones that are oppressed by the system. So
Absolutely.
this has
Wow.
been so awesome. I've just talked your ear off, but I feel like
No,
we could.
I just love the passion. The passion in you is absolutely like an incredible, unstoppable fire that can, once it gets open, it's like unstoppable. And I don't want to stop it, because that passion needs to be heard, needs to be spread, because it's beautiful, it's contagious, and it's very informative. I'm even learning things from you, so that's amazing. Wow. So we
Well,
talked
maybe
a
we'll
lot.
have to do this again.
Oh, we could easily do like 2-3 episodes, because I haven't even asked you any of the questions that I was planning to, because this is, as I told you, it's going to be very fluid, open conversation, just having a coffee in person. And that's a beautiful thing. I told you there would be a question that would spark directly, spontaneously. And that's what happened. I haven't even got to the question I had for you, but we can do 2-3 episodes, but that's fine. So just to get back on track a little bit. So I get the feeling, I wanted to ask you, what is your why? But I get the feeling your why is basically your children. Am I correct?
It is, but it's for them to also want to make an impact on
Mhm.
the world. You know,
Mhm.
like I've said, we were called to be generous on all occasions. So how do we do that? And it does start at home. It starts with sharing your toys, and like a little kid
Absolutely.
trying to teach a toddler to share his truck. We're not built that way. It's
Mhm.
it's survival, but yeah. So
Especially,
it's my passion. And then to help other moms who think that their only option is to work long hours. Now I have a lot of moms that are career moms, and that's fantastic. Like that's what they do, and they're really good at what they do, whether they're, they own mortgage companies or are big real estate brokers, or whether they're attorneys downtown. I mean, that's their passion. And I would never, everybody has to find their own passion. But there are some moms that would like to do more, to give more, but their passion is to stay and be there with their kids. It goes like the blink of an eye. Right. We were talking the other day, my kids, and I'm like, do you know, when you were 10, I sent this to my 17-year-old, we're all three of us were sitting there talking. I'm like, when you were 10, that's when you guys started this journey.
wow.
Um, to my oldest now, I'm like, you're 17. You're going to be 18 in another 6 months. That's almost half your life. Do you see how quick you can end up my age? Like, you can't waste time. I wasted, and the whole reason I'm big on this on them. So do I push them? Yeah, I need to push them more, and I do sometimes, not enough to make them hopefully resentful of me, but Payman, I wasted decades of my life.
I know. Same
Like
here. Same here.
absolute decades, not just financially, but emotionally, and stuck in depression, and drinking and partying through my whole youth, starting way too young with all that, and going all the way up to my 30s, just wasting life. And
Trying to find
I'm
ourselves.
gonna have
Yeah.
to answer to that.
I
I
know.
will have to answer to that, but hopefully there's forgiveness, and hopefully I can
Oh, there
keep
will.
moving forward, and move from there. But yeah.
You
um,
mentioned that the journey for your kids into entrepreneurship started when they were 10. Did you, when in the beginning, started taking them to some of your meetings, even directly or indirectly, and that's how they started picking up things or started to
exactly.
get exposed to things?
Exactly. It's what I did. I took them to these long, like, there's a lot of different great
Hmm.
entrepreneur home business trainers out there. And then when they do big events, the mentor that we were following when they were at that age was a woman. She's now retired and whatever, but she would have 3-day events. And it was everything. It was personal development, because you can't be successful in the business world unless you deal with the mental stuff, right? So every good
That's
program, as you and I
90%.
both know, has to start with the mental game. And then the so they would start with the mental thing, and they would go all the way up, and then the third day was all about home businesses and your own type of
Hmm.
businesses that you would do, because there was a lot of there were a lot of people there that just weren't home businesses. We had politicians that would come to the meetings and stuff like that, but yeah, I would say that I dragged them.
Good. That's a good way,
And
good
then they
place to be
started,
dragged on.
they started liking it, and then, but it was long days for little kids.
Talking to you, I get the sense that you have an absolute gold mine, a 7, if not 8-figure business right in front of you, which is starting some kind of academy for kids to become entrepreneurs. That's something that, especially with your own kids, they can be the role models, they can be the actual mentors, the coaches. Have you thought about maybe helping them starting that kind of academy for them?
That is actually a piece in the business that we already have. They're building
Hmm.
a whole platform for the kids, and my kids are doing my husband's a chef. My kids are doing a
Wow.
whole thing on want to teach kids how to cook, because they believe that we've gotten away from the dinner table. And so they're working on right now a funnel and a cooking project with the same mission in mind: reunite the family. And and
Wow.
get people back at the dinner table and teach, because a lot of people have, one of the other thing that's happened, and where does our money go? Well, it goes to fast food restaurants and drive-throughs, and there's so much money just wasted, and we're in our health and everything else, where if we could just bring the family back to the dinner table. We have dinner together
Mm-hmm.
almost every single night. It's a rare night that we don't. I have a daughter that's a gymnast, so sometimes the gym, we don't want to wait till she's home or wait, so then somebody hopefully will sit with her when she gets home. But for the, that's something that's lost, that we
Yeah.
don't have dinner together or breakfast or lunch, or so bring the
Now,
family
unfortunately,
back.
you see families, maybe they each get their own food, they each go to their own room, and that's quite sad, unfortunately, because a dinner, it's not about what you eat, but it's the company, time to catch up, to build, to bond together, to spend quality time. That's something that we used to be doing since immemorial times, but now, because everybody is in their own world, whatever it's video games, Netflix, whatever,
Mhm.
it's just taking us away from that, and it's sad
It's
for me.
almost like an accountability thing. We
Yeah.
not just catch up on the day, but when your family's kind of all got their things going on,
Hmm.
um, it'd be like if you were my accountability partner, we couldn't go 2 weeks without talking, because then we'd stop doing whatever we were holding each other accountable to, right? And so it's something about meeting with people and it's hard, to live with someone 24/7 and all that. You have to work on your own self, your own, um, as a mom, there's a fine line. I used to be a dictator when they were in public school, because we didn't have a lot of time. So there's no time. You do your homework right now, a lot of yelling, a lot of screaming, a lot of, and then you go
Yeah.
outside and smile at the neighbors like, no, that wasn't me, and they're screaming. I don't know what you thought you heard.
It was a
I'm
TV.
still sweet. I'm still your sweet neighbor, because everybody else thinks I'm so sweet, right? But with the kids. And then when I brought them home, having to teach them how to motivate themselves, because I can't be watching them every moment. So the skills that I'm learning in these events to motivate my team as I'm growing teams or whatever through the different years of different businesses I have are the same skills that you use with your kids. You were saying they need to teach you how to do sales. Sales is in every aspect of life. I do have a lot of moms that, I can never do sales. I'm like, you have a husband. Obviously, you sold him to marry you. You sold him that you were
Exactly.
cool and all that.
We
Then you
do
have to
sales
sell him
every day.
every single day for him to come home, right?
Every day.
That's
Everything.
sales. That's negotiation. That's, whatever. Same with your kids. Unless you're doing every single thing for them and letting them lay on the couch and do video games till 6 a.m. and do all of these, not do anything but smoke pot or whatever. Because I've got family, not on my side, so sorry, Mom, if you heard this, but we have family members out there where literally the kids sit there and smoke pot in the parents' house. Like, we don't associate with those people,
Wow.
but they have
Hmm.
no goal, no drive, whatever. But the parents came here as immigrants, working their bottoms off, trying to make a better life for their kids, and have spoiled their kids. I am not for spoiling or
No.
babying my kids.
No. 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 Exactly. No.
It's not going to serve them in their future.
No, for sure. And just to get back to what you're saying, we do selling with every decision or everyday life. Every time you ask someone to do something or to try to influence them or try to tell your friend, hey, let's go watch this movie or let's go to this restaurant or whatever, or come on over for dinner, whatever it's basically doing sale. You're selling yourself. You're selling your idea. We do it, without even thinking. So when we talk to someone
Absolutely.
doing sales, they think it's something, oh, scary, no, I can't do sales. No, sorry, you've been doing sales since you were able to talk, you know?
Yep, exactly. And hopefully we've gotten better at it.
Sure.
We're not screaming and throwing tantrums on the floor. We're
Yeah.
actually transferring excitement so the other person says, yeah, let's do it.
You mentioned earlier in the beginning that one of your kid was able to raise enough money to the funnels to build a house in Nicaragua. That's absolutely amazing. Out of curiosity, how much did that house cost to build in
So they're
that place?
both, let me just clarify, it was both of them. It was
Okay.
their baking business. So even my 7-year-old at the time was doing the baking, was out there talking to adults, at these events or whatever, or on the driveway, or,
Hmm.
like doing bake sales or whatever. Like, it was both of them to the best of both of their ability. And you know what? I don't know how much the houses were at the moment. Does anybody know? 10,000.
Wow, that's amazing. That's
So,
amazing.
and that would get the house built, and that would get the house built and get them started with some chickens and some stuff like that. And then they came up with things to teach them how to be, how they could afford to live. They were the poorest of the poor. They lived on a landfill that had been abandoned, and they had been pushed out and pushed out and pushed out, as homeless often do. They get pushed to where they finally ended up, and the government didn't really care that they were on this landfill, where there were tunnels and all this stuff underneath them. There was one family, and they were just in hovels of houses. There was this one family that the ground gave way, and
Wow.
I don't remember if it was one or two people just disappeared into. So we got land from the government. We got them to they made a really good deal with getting land from the government so that they own that land, and then they started building all the houses. And yeah, that was amazing. That took off. That's been several years. I think they might still be working a little bit with some of those houses, but they surpassed their first goal immediately. They doubled that. But yeah, we don't understand here up in North America what real poverty is. We're like, oh, I'm so broke. But you know what? If you're broke in this country, in Canada, you can go to the corner, or you can stand out inside of the grocery store and you can get food and money. But when you go
You
to some
can,
of these, and if you've traveled so much, you've seen it firsthand also. There's no corner to stand in and beg for money. There's no food.
no,
There's
no.
and people in our world often don't understand what real poverty and real hopelessness is.
I've seen a stat that says even if you're able to get a job at McDonald's flipping burgers, making minimum wage, you're still earning more than 70 or 80% of the world's population. That absolutely blew my mind away. And in here in North America, we still have, social services. The government can help you get back on your feet. But in those places in Asia and Africa and Central Asia and Central and Latin America, there's no such thing. You're on your own. You're on your own.
Mm-hmm. And
That's
not
what's
even
real.
just the
Yeah.
government, but literally like the panhandlers going out there and making money. And then there's people that
Yeah.
obviously will take advantage of that, but you're not going to go,
Yes.
if you will just get off your sofa, you will not starve to death. You will not
No.
actually get distended tummy, or whatever. I can't say the word, distended tummy, the big bloated tummies that
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
starving
Yeah.
children get. So it's up to us. It's up to us to figure out our money stuff, to raise the next generation, to
Mm-hmm.
understand it, to take all of the bad stuff on making money away and know that it's a tool that we can help. And
You
that's what
know,
we need to do.
it's amazing. And so when you were able to build that house, did you do it to an organization or did you do it
Yes,
on your
yes.
own?
We did not do it. Like I said earlier, I'm not really the one that wants to go be
Okay.
the boots on the ground. But yes, we are the whole organization.
What
Um,
is it called?
well, that was the mentor that I was working with at the time, and
Okay.
so she had a non-for-profit, and they did whatever projects. We did Haiti, we built an orphanage in Belize. And I say we because we were a family, it's kind of like ClickFunnels
Nice.
or
Mm-hmm.
Akbar's group. We become family, right? And you become a mission. So I'm not following them anymore. Sometimes we leave, we go to the next stage of whatever our development is.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not with
Yeah.
them anymore. And we've since then, my focus has been more on like Operation Underground Railroad and Ruby Acres down in Florida and local things, of course, local things.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Ruby
my,
Acres is an organization that helps these women to escape from human trafficking, right?
yes,
Okay.
or yes, yeah, it's trafficking in a sense, or just get out of the sex trade industry
Okay.
is really,
Okay.
uh,
Crazy. Okay. Yeah, I'm the kind of person that I've been, always wanting to help, and that's one of the projects I'm working on right now, and that's where this entire Leaders with a Heart, hopefully, is going to be a movement started. Is that I'm an e-commerce guy. I'm not a coach. I'm an e-commerce guy, and I want to launch a brand of products in mind It's going to be something purely, I can tell it. It's basically sunglasses, the sexiest, coolest sunglasses made entirely of leather, 100% leather, no other materials. It's going to be made from in Argentina, because Argentina has some of the best leathers in the world. So I'm just waiting now, like a lion in a cage, waiting to be unleashed so I can fly to Argentina, working on this product. And then for each unit I'll be selling, I want to donate one pair of eyeglasses to someone that needs eyeglasses but cannot afford it. Starting first with Argentina, and then eventually my dream is to expand it worldwide. And when I first joined Akbar's group, when I was on the vetting call with them, he asked me, "So what's your why? Is it to buy, Lambos and all that stuff?" I said, "No, my goal is not to make $1 million. My goal is to give $1 million. For me to achieve that, I need to generate $3 million." And he said, "Brother, you're in." I said, "Yes, thank you. That's my dream. That's my goal." It's not, we reach a point in our life that it's not just about us. It's about giving back, having a contribution. I read a quote not long ago that absolutely changed my life. And it says the two most important dates in someone's life is, first, when you're born, and second, when you find out why you're born, why you're here, what's your reason, what's your mission. Once you find that out, then it changes your entire perception. Everything has changed. You become a different person. All of a sudden, you just go from being a zombie, just sleepwalking through life, to bam, just you completely different person, almost like a possessed person. And that's what I've been feeling. I feel blessed that I was actually able to find my why, my reason, and now I'm truly blessed to be able to be in a position like that, and I found my why. When I talk about that, I get goosebumps, almost very emotional, because I'm very passionate about that. So
It makes you quit wasting time when you figure out that,
absolutely,
right?
absolutely. Especially, it's not the easiest thing to do, especially in times where you absolutely have your hands tied. You cannot do anything because of what's going on outside that you have no control over. But still, when you feel down or feel hesitant, all I have to do is just remember why you're doing this. Is to help someone, give someone the gift of eyesight, do whatever you want. It's not about the, say, the 100,000 unit that you will be selling. It's about the, actually, I'm planning on doing a Kickstarter for this. And on the Kickstarter, I will put, my goal is not to generate, to build 1,000 units of this product, but to give away 1,000 units. So for me to that, I need to be able to raise enough money to manufacture 2,000 or 3,000 units. For me, it's all about the impact. It's not just about the money. Yes, the money is nice, but you get to a point that you need to do better. Have to get something bigger, bigger than yourself, bigger than us. Because as I said, there's nothing more beautiful, fulfilling than when you see the eyes filled with, with gratitude of someone. When you help someone without expecting anything in return, and all they have to give you is just their blessings and their beautiful smile, their eyes. That's the most beautiful gift someone can give you. It's not about,
Absolutely.
okay, I give you this, you pay me this. No, that's not it. It's almost like a karmic exchange. You do something for someone. I strongly believe in karma. It's so I think that's the biggest, the most beautiful exchange, the most beautiful transactions. I wouldn't say even transaction, but the most beautiful service that someone can do is to help someone in need.
I agree wholeheartedly.
That's amazing. Wow. You and me, we can talk about this for hours and hours. We should definitely do another one in a few months, but let's keep it short. If someone, what would be an advice that you would give to someone that would like to be more involved and building a business that is more impactful, not just about making money, but also contributing, helping, giving? So where would you say someone that is very interested in helping but has no idea, where would you tell them to start?
I would say start being aware of what's around you. Like most of the causes that I've fallen in love with in my life and we've done something about in the last decade or so is because I quit walking over the homeless people in Chicago, and I started looking at them and smiling. And we always had these guys on the, selling these magazines called Streetwise, and they some company probably made them for free and gave them to them for free so they would get donations or whatever. I never took one. I maybe took one or two magazines, but I would always let them keep the magazine. But instead of just like, oh, there's a streetwise guy out front and walk out the door, to actually look at them, even if I don't have any money, to look at somebody in the eyes and smile. They're a human being, right? And that was one thing that I learned as I got more into sales also, is that there's a lot of no's, but my no can still smile at me. And you know what I mean? It's still going to make me feel good, or whatever. And just be aware of what's around you. Like, of course, there's homelessness everywhere. Maybe that's not the thing that gets you to find that why, that the day that you're born and then that part before you die or whatever that gets you off the couch and gets you started. But I don't know. I went to FHL, and that's when I was really introduced to Operation Underground Railroad. And then through that other organization, we met somebody else, and that's when my daughter started working on the websites or the funnels for the other international non-for-profit. They work with, down in Uganda. We have orphanages in Uganda that we still support, and in Pakistan, Philippines, there's lots of different places. And so through that is how we met Amber down in Florida. So once you just open up your eyes and look around you, you'll find something that can feed your soul and take depression away and give you a reason to get up in the morning, even when you have enough, and then definitely when you don't.
Yeah, totally. And just to come back to what you said earlier, just what's absolutely beautiful is just when you see a homeless or someone on the street, these are human beings, just greeting them, saying, hey, how are you? How's your day? That's probably the best gift you can give. If you have nothing to give them, just the fact that you're treating them as a human being and treating them with respect, with decency, that's something that will make the day. Something as simple as just
they're
maybe,
used to being looked past. They're
yeah,
used to people ignoring them, especially if you see
avoiding them.
somebody out there that might have some disabilities, like
Hmm.
some strange look or something that's different than what we
Yeah,
see, and they're used to being ignored, and
yeah, that's the thing.
just
Yeah,
to feel like we have noticed in the last 7 to 8 months, we're here now in November of 2020, and we've been basically isolating and away from human beings, and human beings need human beings, just that contact, just
absolutely.
the eye to eye, just a smile,
We are
just
social creatures, you know?
yes. And so, but we're so scared that some people are scared to give to the homeless, or some people and I don't always give to them, even if I have money. It's more like I'm able to be led to do it now. It's not through guilt or through whatever, but that was a process that I had to walk through too. And that came with looking at them, looking around me, and you'll find whatever it is. Maybe like for you, it's to give eyesight to people, like give the glasses. Like I wear glasses. I have very, very, very poor eyes. I hate to speak death over my eyes, but if I wasn't able to afford my contacts or glasses, I can't even imagine what it would be like stumbling through life. And
Hmm.
so somehow you found that, and maybe we can talk about you on your next podcast, even though it's your podcast, interview people. I'd love to hear more about that. But that would be my
Certainly.
advice to people. Just look out there outside and you will be led when you start praying for or meditating on or whatever you do, spending a few minutes thinking about, help me find something outside of myself to be important, outside of my family, outside of my circle, that would bring me joy. And you might start one thing and that might not be it. And that's cool, but you felt how good it feels to give. And then but there will continue to be things put in your way, and bigger and bigger and bigger projects.
Oh, for sure, for sure. It's all about, having a heart, being sensitive, being, opening our eyes, not just to walk, but also to see what's around us. Because these, for example, coming back to these homeless people, these are human beings. They have this story. Some of them have very interesting stories and very tragic stories. Go spend 5 minutes talking with them, sharing a coffee. I usually don't give them money. I prefer to buy them, some food or coffee, whatever, and sit down with them, talk with them. Hey, how's it going? How's your day? Whatever. Just because that's what they need. Because we as I said, we human beings are social creatures, And these people are completely ignored, completely, treated as they're part of the furniture. Nobody even notice them or acknowledge them. So when you stop and say, hey, how's it going? How's your day? What's your name? Regardless of whether they smell bad or they did not dress properly, it's okay. We need to look past that, because deep down, there's a soul, there's a human being, there's a heart, there's dreams, there's aspirations. There's some of the dreams have been maybe put on hold. Some of them are not being able to reach, but you never know. Maybe just the fact that you talk to someone, maybe that can give them, back their belief in humanity. And it's going to say, hey, I can get out of here. I know I can get out. And then maybe they can reach out to, you can get them, say, to the social services, to the shelters, so they can get back on their feet. I know it's not our responsibility to take everyone off the street, but we can at least, if we can be the spark, the fire that gets someone to believe again, because most of these people have been completely at tragic events, completely destroyed. All it takes is just one person. Hey, I believe in you. I know you can do it. This is possible. Or just give them a book that's gonna nourish the rekindle their fire. That's all it takes. We all of us have lots of books. I have 10 books right now on my desk alone that I'm not using. But if I can take each one of them just to someone on the street, that can be the life changer. Like that book cost me $10-20, but that can be the start of something beautiful.
Amen. All it takes, look outside of ourselves. I love that. I love that idea.
Yeah, just like Russell always says, you're one funnel away. I think in here is you're just one word away, just one greeting away. You never know.
One smile.
Exactly. Put it better. One smile away. Because the smile is the key that opens every door. So yeah, no, absolutely. I think we're on the same page. You're an angel. You're doing the God's work on this planet, on top of being the coolest mom ever.
Oh yeah, I'll take it. Tell the kids.
I wish I could have a mom like you. Not my mom is amazing, but you're amazing for what I mean, but wow, it's amazing.
I'm sure your mom is amazing. She raised you great because who you are.
Thank you. So, thank you. I appreciate that.
It comes down to the mamas. It does.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a lot of single moms out there too that need some huge, clapping for and encouragement. And
the moms are the real MVPs. That's what I truly believe. They are the real MVPs in every family. Yes, the father is super important, but the mom is the real MVP.
We are the glue that holds the family together.
Absolutely. And so if someone wants to, I love talking to you. We can talk for hours and hours. We definitely need to do more episodes in the future. But if someone wants to find you, to reach out to you, whether it's to contact you or to get more information about your program, what's the best way to reach you at?
Well, I'm on Facebook. So it's just facebook.com, Lynn.Plata.
Okay.
So that's kind of my home, I guess. Most of the stuff I'm doing on there. And I'm working with the momswealthclub.com/podcast if anybody's interested in receiving some newsletters on finances and things like that. And I've got Instagram and stuff like that. I have not spent as much time there, but you know what? I've been really, really, really busy, and I've done a little bit better of not being on Facebook so much either, because that's such a time suck. But I do communicate with people through there very, very, frequently. Like that's kind of my hub.
Amazing. Okay, so I'll put all of that in the show notes. And yeah, wow, I'm just blown away. The thing I love the most about the podcast is I build the podcast not for the business reason, but for the simple fact I want to connect with amazing people. And that's what I've been blessed to be connecting with you. And I knew you would be someone, I knew beforehand, I knew that you would be a firecracker, but now you're more than a firecracker. You're like a volcano. You're absolutely amazing.
I'll take it.
Absolutely amazing. All right. So do you have any parting tip for anyone or any that would like to get more into helping others?
I guess if I was to say anything is just one small thing and feel what it feels like to give, and whatever it is, whether, you know, you have time or a smile. And we just have to kind of get out of ourselves. It's been a tough year. There's a lot of people that are really depressed, and being someone that loves joy and loves to be happy, I have had times in my life where I've been depressed, and as I look back at those times, it was because I wasn't giving enough to humanity. And it doesn't have to be burdensome. You know, that's another thing. Sometimes when we're depressed, we make it sound like it's a burden, and really it's the cure. You don't need a antidepressant pill or some other kind of crutch. You just need the wherewithal to take one step and do something for somebody else.
That's
Maybe.
the best medicine. Yes.
So that's what I'd say today.
That's the most beautiful tip I've ever heard. Wow, you're amazing. Thank you. Well, I'm lost for words right now. So anyways, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You've been absolutely, you're an angel. It's been incredible to have you here. And we'll definitely be looking forward to do a second part 2 in a few months once I get my product going. And once you get going more, we get an update on your business, especially if you do get going with the Teens Academy for Entrepreneurship. That would be something amazing. So yeah.
Absolutely. That sounds awesome. Okay, well, let's do it. We'll
Thank you very much. Have a great evening, and we'll keep in touch. Take care.
You too. Take care.
Ciao,
Bye-bye.
ciao.